Welcome to Issaquah Christian Church.
Well, it's the last week of January, so it's time to check in on your resolutions. How you guys doing? Anybody give up? Willing to admit it? No. Yeah, hopefully, I don't know what you were thinking about, but, how am I going to feel different, be different? How am I going to do things differently? How am I going to maybe eat less of the wrong things? Maybe stop touching my phone? That's an interesting one. It's such an amazing little addiction. Have any of you broken your smartphone addiction yet? Any of you? No? You're still in it? Is that a trap? Was that a trap? I think that might have been a trap question. Yeah, but that's the nice thing about the smartphone. We gotta pretend we're kings and queens, with just a thumb. You can summon the comedians, the jesters. You can call the blue trucks and the brown trucks to your house with usually just with one thumb. Sometimes you have to use two. The dancing girls, they show up. I mean, everything you need as a king is in your hand as a smartphone user. It's kind of this amazing thing. Back in the day, and we have to remember that the phones themselves were meant for like a very serious, high-class individual. Do you remember the day? Some of you were that person probably. You got the whole kit in the trunk, and you got the phone in front. And what did that phone tell you about that person when they would put a phone up to their ear in a car? What did that tell you? It's like, this person is so important, so indispensable to their company, that the moment-to-moment decisions of their company rise and fall on the decision-making power of that CEO who's got a car phone, right? I mean, that was the story, right? I used to drive with a house phone up to my ear just to feel cool. I didn't have the cord at that time. It was actually a cordless, so it wasn't like hanging out like a seatbelt. It was that I was like, okay, I want to feel like I'm I'm one of those guys with one of the big phones, And the media really is the message. The media is the message. So now when you've got a phone in your hand and the world is just asking, like, what are you eating for lunch right now? The world needs to know. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you in front of any mirrors that we could see like a full body reflection of like who you are and what you're, like present to us yourself. The world needs you right now. And it's interesting how we've kind of adopted this thing where the phone means like I'm kind of a big deal, honestly. I mean, look at the way I chop my cilantro. I mean, let's just put that online. I mean, that's a big thing, and a lot of people don't chop it right, and we understand that. And so thank you for putting that out there to the world to really help us understand, like, what's the deal, But it's interesting because somehow it's just so addicting. I mean, that's how I hold it, too, just like a little baby, just like I had a little baby in my hand. It's very, very interesting. So back in the day, they've changed their name since, but there was a little company called Dopamine Labs. Any of you know that company? Dopamine Labs, back in the day? And so what they were doing was working with other businesses to give you a few lines of code so that you could really track when you're using an app how the rewards get timed and how to actually keep you addicted to your phone. This is like the real thing. This is what they do. It's all been uncovered, and so it's sort of obvious. The dopamine, the hit, is what they're trying to keep us going for. So and it wasn't just rewards. It was random rewards. You know this. I was learning this as I was training my new rental puppy, that I get to borrow every once in a while and walk for my neighbor. And my son Max, who's a canine handler, was talking about random rewards. So you don't not every time I say, good girl, Lucy, and I put my hand down here with a little treat, and she runs up. But not every time I say, good girl, Lucy, because I want her to run up to my hand and be at my heel no matter whether I'm giving her a treat or not. So it's random rewards. You want to keep her kind of guessing and keep her, maybe this will be the time, maybe this will be the time. And so these random rewards are actually like a slot machine effect, the one-armed bandit, It's like, I might get it this next time. Odds are I'm going to get it this next time. Well, it's all happening underneath our normal cognitive functioning and to keeping us addicted to all these kinds of things. Till we're sitting like gamblers at a slot machine, which if that's your story too, we can talk about that, that's fine. But the first president of Facebook, his name was Sean Parker, he was quoted in an interview saying, the thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first, was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. Isn't that sweet? How do we consume as much? You're like, you're the one that preaches forever. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, how do we consume and your time and your conscious attention, how much as possible? And so if you're not aware of this, if the product is free to you, who's the product? You're the product. Okay, so just as long as we understand that this new world that we're in, if it's free to you, then you're the product, and somehow they're selling you to whatever, right? So he says that means we need to give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on your photo or post or whatever. That's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you more likes and comments. It's a social validation feedback loop. Exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, he says. Because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. And then later in the interview, he goes on to say, God only knows what it's doing to our children's brains. No. Like if that's the story, right? So that's the kind of the world we're in. It's an attention economy. I think most of us get that. And this dopamine thing, neuroscience is telling us that dopamine is about wanting and chasing, not that deep commitment, or that deep contentment, rather, that we're actually looking for. It's about wanting and chasing. So just keep you chasing. Just keep you wanting. Keep you chasing. Keep you wanting. I remember one time I took a year off of watching television. And when I got back to it, the thing that offended me most was the ads. I thought it would be the TV shows and all that kind of stuff, but I was like, oh, so I'm not enough, am I? Oh, I have these deep desires that just can't be fulfilled by anything other than your product. Oh, I am kind of fat. I am kind of losing my hair. Oh my gosh, this is so terrible, I saw an ad yesterday for body mascara. I think they labeled it wrong. I was like, what is that, for mustaches or something like that? No, I found out it was full body. It was like full, like it was like to give your eyelashes more body. I was like, why do we need help with the? Anyway, I was like, and is it for men or is it for women? I know I was struggling. I had a moment there. I had to try to figure some things out. But it's like you're not enough. What's wrong with you? What's your problem? I don't understand. This will fix it, right? That's always where we're at. Sometimes that's really good because there are needs. And we need those things fulfilled. And there's also the other side, right? So if we're pursuit, what we all want is the pursuit of maybe, let's say, happiness or the sense of contentment, like all is well. That's what we're not experiencing with the rest of the world. And so when all that goes off, and when Minneapolis is just going through craziness and all this kind of stuff, we're all struggling, what do we reach to? These are the questions that we have to ask. What am I reaching for that's going to stabilize me, that's going to fix this, that's going to bring that sense of calm and contentment? And we have to realize that what's on offer is more wanting and chasing, not the contentment that we actually want. So we're cross-circuited there. And the author of Ecclesiastes, or the voice within Ecclesiastes, the Qohelet, or the convener, he did this experiment long before push notifications. He stacked his life up with all the pleasures, all the things that could possibly bring it, the laughter and wine and projects and sex and music and wealth and accumulation and all these kind of things. He ran these labs for us so we can sit with it today and say, oh, okay, maybe this is chasing after vapor. This is like trying to grab that smoke and put it in your pocket and save it for a rainy day or something like that. Like, no, it's just vapor. This is what it is. That slot machine feeling of like maybe this next thing is going to actually be the thing. That's going to satisfy me. He's like, I've run it. I've actually taken it to its end, to absurdity, to its logical conclusion, and it doesn't do it. So we have to walk through this today. I say we have to walk through it. We don't have to, but you're here, so let's do it anyway. And we've been looking at this letter of Ecclesiastes, which has if you read to the very end, it says, and those are the words of this guy. And so it's kind of like we're introducing this experiment of this one guy, the Qohelet, and we're learning about the way he sees life. And there are three major lenses that kind of show up, that put the world into a proper perspective. The first layer, and most of Ecclesiastes, if you've read it, is kind of like, you know what, life is just absurd. I mean, try to make sense of it. You work. I mean, I know a guy that I love dearly that he finally got to retire and spend the rest of his days so far in the hospital after retiring. You know, it's like, oh, but you just get to this point and then, oh, no. Oh, well, that was all. Remember it was supposed to be out there for me? Remember I was supposed to enjoy it if I just got to this point, sold the business, and then I could, now I'm just in the hospital with a blood cancer and just trying to figure all this stuff out, right? So that's the most of the book is like life is kind of absurd. It doesn't just line up like you want it to. You do this, you get this, everybody's happy. So that's probably 90% of the book just says, I don't know, man, it's like vapor. It's just like you try to grab it and it's just gone. What are you going to do with that? Well, there's a second lens to kind of slot in there, and it's a rosier lens, and it says, but actually there's a lot in life that's a gift. Enjoy it. So it kind of slots in there, and you're looking down the line, and I can kind of see the house and the hill, and now it's a little rosier, but then that last lens comes in, and maybe it's another just 5% of the story, but it's like we're accountable to God. And if you put that lens in there, you'll see things really clearly and realize that, oh yeah, okay, there's a lot that goes wrong and a lot that doesn't seem to make sense, but there are some really beautiful things in the midst of it, and we are accountable for all of it. So let's move forward. So I just want to take us through this idea of pleasure, but through those different lenses. And I think we'll find that there's a gift in the midst of it, but if we take it too much and we say, I'm going to pursue this because this will make me happy, or this will make me fulfilled, or this will make me successful, it's going to destroy you. And so this is the way I would put it. Pleasure is a good gift, but a terrible God. Amen. It's a terrible God. I mean, if you bow down and say, okay, fix me, make me forget my past. If you bow down and you just say, make me somebody, make me the talk of the town, make me the whatever, the fun guy, or make me among my peers, I want to, whatever the thing is, pleasure's like, it's good. But if you worship it, it will destroy you. It makes a really terrible God. Some of you know that just because of your own life, and so we'll walk through this, and first we'll just kind of go inside the pleasure lab of Ecclesiastes, and we'll start to work our way up through these different lenses. So Qohelet says he turned his life into kind of a controlled experiment about enjoyment. And this is what he says in chapter 2. We'll kind of do a couple verses at a time. So this is 2, and we'll go 1 through 3. I said in my heart, come now, I will test you with pleasure. Come on, heart, let's go. Enjoy yourself. But behold, this was also vanity, like smoky vaporousness. I said of laughter, it's mad, and of pleasure, what use is it? I searched with my heart how to cheer my body with wine, my heart still guiding me with wisdom. So he wasn't like falling downstairs drunk, but he's testing it, like how much wine, how much could I do, and then I'm going to try to keep my mind, but I'm going to try to how to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the children of man to do under heaven during the few days of their life. So this little pleasure lab thing, and we start to see this first lens was I'm going to try to do these things and try to figure it out. There's a man who we attribute this idea and these experiments to the King Solomon, who had, in his day there was so much wealth and rich goods and everything in the city of Jerusalem that people were like, oh, you have silver? I don't need silver. I want gold. You can have all my silver. I just want the gold, right? They had everything possible inside this pleasure lab. So the experiment then, he goes on, and he says, I made great works. I built houses and planted vineyards for myself. I made myself gardens and parks, and I planted in them all kinds of fruit trees. I made myself pools from which to water the forest of growing trees. This is that picture of ancient kings used to do this, and they would have all the gardens, most famously the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. This is the idea that I have brought under my control all the varieties of trees in the earth, all the animals and all the whatever. They make zoos and gardens and say, I'm basically like a little king in my own little kingdom. Look at me. I have apes, and I have emus, and I have ostriches, and I have peacocks. I control the known world. This is that picture of bringing everything underneath your control in a little minor cosmos. And he says, I bought male and female slaves and had slaves who were born in my house. I had also great possessions of herds and flocks, more than any who had been before me in Jerusalem. I also gathered for myself silver and gold and the treasures of kings and provinces. I got singers, both men and women, and many concubines, the delight of the sons of man. So this is his lab. He's controlling for variables. Okay, let's try laughter. All right, that was fun. That was pretty cool. All right, wine and parties, and we'll just eat all the food. Let's eat that ostrich. Let's go, let's do all the things. So we're just going to make this a great time. Houses, vineyards, parks, water systems. Look at you controlling the environment. And how much of us that's all we want. It's just a little control. That's all we're looking for. I mean, Lord, give us a break here. All we're looking for is just to be able to control our lives like a little kingdom, a little cosmos, where I say go and they go. Or I say do this and they do that. I mean, isn't that too much to ask for a little king like me to have my own little kingdom? And God says, well, who's the king? And that's where that accountability comes in. Who's the actual king? I'm the one of the variables, right? Then wealth and possessions, servants and herds and all these different things. At your bidding, doing what you want. I have our little golden scepter on our smartphone in mind, like, okay, calling it in, doing it, summon the trucks, bring me my stuff. Music and sex, many concubines, the delights of the sons of men. This is the experiment. America has run in these experiments as well. For today, we add to it, though, maybe that next show that I was thinking is going to come. Did you know there's a new show coming out in 2026? It's about blah, 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 the very thing you like. Oh, no, are you kidding me? That could satisfy me. It's like, well, it's a good story, probably. Aaron, probably a good story. Maybe worth talking about, Aaron. You too. You can be involved in this if you want. But it's not going to solve it. It's not going to solve that thing that you keep thinking it's going to solve. So my cue for streaming movies, that craft, project or craft drinks or whatever, home projects, travel. I kind of knew this one wasn't going to work, but travel to Chicago in midwinter didn't do it for me. I kind of knew that ahead of time, but I was like, oh, this is correct. Did not do it for me, so that one's done. You don't have to worry about that. Foodie culture, that thing, and oh my goodness, you're still eating it like that. You need to twist it this way and eat it this way. Oh, I didn't know. Now I'm sophisticated. It's so amazing. Whatever. And it's like, okay, that'll fix you. I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't fix me. Fitness, social media applause. That would be amazing. Finally everybody just said, I forget it. You win. You chop cilantro better than anyone in the world. You win the prize of Instagram. You have curated your photo. I know it's a complete lie because that's not your actual life, but whatever. Like, congratulations, you win. Maybe that's what we should do today. If you're on social media, just tell somebody they win. And maybe that'll fix them, right? So you win. All right, good job. Maybe a blue ribbon or something like that. That'd be great. There's a darker side of all this. I won't belabor it too much, but sexually graphic images in the world of the internet. Most of the internet is based on this trade of pornography, and that's right at your thumbs too. Right there, look at that. It's just right there. That'll fix me. Then, see, I knew I wanted to be wanted like that, and this person really wants me. So, oh yeah. And now I feel complete because now I have this exchange of desire, and that did it for me. It doesn't. So maybe you didn't catch my sarcasm. It doesn't do it for you. So the verdict here, he goes on. Let's talk about the verdict. So So he's kind of expressing that the life is pleasures is good, but it's kind of finite. He says this. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. That should cover it. He's greatest, he's the best, then he wins. Also, my wisdom remained with me, and whatever my eyes desired, I didn't keep from them. I kept my heart from no pleasure, for my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was the reward for all my toil. And then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil I had expended in doing it, and behold, it was all vanity. It was like striving after the wind. Just run out there and grab it. Go get the wind. And that there was nothing to be gained under the sun. So he ran all these tests for us, for you, and ends up with, don't run after that so hard. It's all, and that word we've been learning is hevel. That's that smoky vaporousness. It's that thing you reach out and you can't quite grab. It's heavily hevel. It's hevel. It's just vanity. It's like, it's not going to do it for you. It's hard. And many of you have, it's easier to focus on other people, so let's do that for a minute. Many of you have friends who you're just like, I don't think that's going to do it for you, buddy. Like, I see you're working really hard. You're really driven. Or you just have this real passion, and you're but you're like, I don't know that it's going to solve it for you. And you watch, maybe your children or your friends or whatever, and it's hard. This is just not really going to do it for them. The aftertaste doesn't quite match the hype, right? The mouthfeel, it's just a little off. What's going on with that? So pleasure is a good gift. But how do you receive it? How can I take it as a gift? Not be like, so we are anti-enjoyment of life, or we are anti-pleasures. Because we know that for Yahweh himself, he says, at my right hand are pleasures forevermore. He's not opposed to it. I'm not supposed to just sit back and be like, life is terrible. And how do you know? Because I make it terrible. Like, yeah, your life does look terrible. I get that for you. But I can enjoy a few things. I don't know if you knew it was game day. The Seahawks are going to play today. And the Seahawks are going to go to the Super Bowl today. They're going to go through the Rams to the Super Bowl today. This is going to be a good gift. I hope you have someone to cheer and some fists to throw in the air, and this is great. Enjoy. That's fabulous. Go Hawks. I got my jersey in my bag. Yeah, exactly. Go Hawks. But it's just not going to fix everything. It's just not going to fix everything. I was scoping down the road where the Seahawks Super Bowl parade is going to go this last week. I was downtown. I was like, yep, it's right there. I was there with my boys last time, and I think I might even get a better spot this next year. So it's going to be good. But it's not going to fix you. It's not going to fix you. Just a little more, and you'll finally be content. Just a little more of this. A little more of that. And if you're thinking about our neuroscience thing, you're like, that's a lie. You're thinking about our phones and shows and our games keep hitting that want, crave system. And contentment system is really quiet. Like, why don't I ever just feel like that was enough? That was good. I like that. That was good. Why does just one more episode keep me up all night? Wasn't it supposed to be 43 minutes and 22 seconds, that episode? And now it's 3 a.m. What's going on with that? I ruined an entire Christmas season once watching Jack Bauer in 24. Because it was discs. I mean, I had to do real work. I had to get up and change discs. And so it was like, well, I've already committed to putting the disc in. And it's only 43 minutes and 22 seconds of an episode. And so that means it's going to be before 2 a.m. before I finish this thing. But I should probably just finish the whole disc and clean it up so I could put it back in. You kind of get in these systems. It didn't fix anything. And by the way, terrible Christmas prep. Yeah, I mean, you're alert to a lot of the threats, but it doesn't really do it. It doesn't really help you. Like, Feliz Navidad. I wasn't thinking that way. One more cookie. Man, that's a trap. Chocolate chip cookies. Man, what's going on? And so let's just start thinking about this. Okay, where are you? This can't just be about me, guys. Come on. You got to do some work here too. So where are you running your own labs right now? Like this should do it. I think that new thing, that new whatever, that one experience. Oh, did you know they're coming to town? No way. Oh my gosh, we got to get tickets. That whole thing. How's that going to fix it? I used to laugh when people say, yeah, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole. And I was like, well, just don't. Well, of course, until I did, right? And so then it's like, well, now I understand. So there's, escaped, all sorts of escapism, achievement. If I was just busy, productive, then what? Then they're not even watching me. How often do you work to please people you don't even like? In our business, in our busyness, we're working to please people we don't even like. I don't even respect the people that I feel cracking the whip behind me. And I look back and they're not even cracking the whip. So this is just me now. Oh, this is just the way I've grown. Oh, that's fabulous. Really great. So I am cracking my own whip. That's interesting. And then really think about the experiments on this ground floor. That's another way to look at this. In the book that I read, Bobby Jameson's book, it's really fascinating. So that's the lenses. Is the ground floor, life is absurd. I'm calling it lenses every once in a while too, but second floor is like it's a gift. And then from the third floor with the skylight, you realize that I'm accountable to God as well. I'm getting a different view of life. So I'll use the floors and the lenses interchangeably here, but have they done it? Have you gotten a deeper rest or just a bigger appetite for things? And so we're moving up. Pleasure is a small, finite gift. Okay, let's look at a couple other passages that just kind of tag in on this idea. There's nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil. And Steve talked wonderfully about that idea of how not to waste your toil last week. This also I saw is from the hand of God. For apart from him, who can eat or even can have enjoyment? Apart from God, how can I actually even experience enjoyment? Apart from my Creator who created me, who knows me, who's not holding out on me, who actually has my best at heart, apart from him could I actually find true enjoyment and peace? Well, you can't. Apart from him, who can eat or drink or have enjoyment? For to the one who pleases him, God has given wisdom and knowledge and joy. But to the sinner, he has given the business of gathering and collecting only to give to one who pleases God. This also is vanity and striving after the wind. So the righteous person, the one who's rightly aligned with the Father, who then is rightly aligned with other people, rightly aligned with his own self, the righteous person can enjoy things as a gift from God with the people of God and find actual true enjoyment. Whereas if you run your lab elsewhere, or that little private corner that you might hide in to say, I'm just going to have a little something for me right now, turns out it's not as satisfying, is it? So life is meant to be enjoyed with the people of God, honoring God, loving God. I perceived that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. So there's some good here, guys. There's some good here. He's not anti-pleasure. He's just anti-idolatry. He just says it's going to ruin you. Don't chase it. Don't chase it. It's going to ruin you. So come back, realize, what was I doing? What was I chasing? Why was I thinking that would fix what's going on inside of me? And then we can become self-possessed people who actually I think I know what I was running for there. It's a good gift. It's a good gift. But gifts do have limits. I don't know if you've noticed this, that if you have I was given a couple truffles the other day, chocolate truffles. I mean, it happened to be as I was leaving their house, but it's chocolate truffles and with little peppermint candy chunks in the middle of it. And I was like, oh, this is great. I'm so sorry I'm leaving. But I was walking out with a really good taste in my mouth. But if I had sat down at their table and just started going like that, at some point I'd feel kind of miserable. How many of you are can handle just one or two chocolates and just leave it at that? A couple of you? Is it just because it's chocolate and it's not your thing? Or is it It is your thing, but you're just only a couple. Good for you. I want to be your friend. Because the whole bag doesn't make me feel loved. When you eat the whole bag, it doesn't make me feel loved and accepted. It's like I've been on this journey for finding foods that I love that love me back, and a whole bag of chocolate doesn't love me back. It doesn't. I can now. Well, I have other things that, like popcorn, like the Chicago style popcorn with the salty and the thing. Like I could stick my head in the bag and I'll see you next week. But like that usually makes me feel really good. So I'll just be honest. But you think about the same. Okay, so if I just keep going back to the episodes or the scrolling or the jokes or whatever, am I trying to taste this and enjoy it, or am I trying to fill a hole with it? Because sometimes those cravings are like, I'm just going to dump this in and this is going to fill that hole. And the Bible doesn't say don't taste anything good. It just says taste and see that Yahweh is good. Blessed is the man who finds refuge, who takes refuge in Yahweh himself. And so we want to run to the correct tower. We want to run for rescue to the right one. And Psalm 34 just says, taste and see that Yahweh is good. He is a proper feast. Just enjoy him. And this is my problem too, my struggle. Like, okay, so how much? Like I spent a half hour with him, so now I can binge for 8 hours on Netflix? What's the proper? It's like, you got to figure some things out. Yahweh is good. Yahweh is good. But every little taste kind of points you past the gift to the giver, right? You've given gifts to people that tear into them and then ignore you while they're enjoying them, and you're like, and then, if you have a good mom, she says, go back and say, Aunt Carol, thank you. Thank you for the gift, right? It's a gift and a giver is supposed to be this connection point. Thank you for the sweater. I know it doesn't fit me, but if I shrink, I'm sure it will, or something like that. The gift and the giver are meant to bind you, and so we're supposed to take everything and just say, oh, God, thank you. Thank you so much. There's a prayer that has come up through the Jewish tradition, which basically is the God, you're overdoing it prayer. I think I've talked to you about this before. But it's such a fun one to practice. I practiced it the other day when we were in Chicago with my son, and everybody gathered around. But it was like, God, it would have been enough if we just had trail mix in our pockets to sustain us. But you let us sit down at a table and have a meal. It would have been enough if someone else had just told us, this is what you're eating tonight. But God, you're overdoing it. You let us choose off of a menu. And we could just select it. And then they brought it here to us. And God, it would have been enough if we could just eat food off of a menu. It really does prolong your eating experience, by the way. Is that what you're saying, Heather? It does prolong the eating experience if you pray like this. yeah. So then, but you just add to it, and God, it would have been enough to just eat good food, but now I get surrounded by this family and these people who we all bless you, Creator God. You're overdoing it, right? We eat and drink as unto the Lord. It's just it's a gift that we take and we receive, and we say, "Wow, this is good, God. This is good," and that's a proper way to process everything we do. Every flick of the thumb on our scepter. Our smartphone scepter, everything is okay, I'm doing this as unto the Lord, and I'm receiving it as a gift from you, which means that there's some things you can't really receive as a gift from God, right? If it's vile, if it tears you apart inside, if it destroys other people or their lives, it's not to be received as a gift, right? I think let the watcher be forewarned on that one. But the contentment system in our brain is around gratitude and relational presence. And he's just fit us for that. So we just need to enjoy our things in front of that. So practice when you pray, whether you extend your family's meals by 20 minutes with the opening prayer or not. But when you have a slow meal with people, like we'll do next week as we gather around and just eat a meal with the people of God, that's so much better than, I got that food in my stomach. Like that chocolate bar that I'm like, I don't really need it in my stomach. I just needed it right here. I don't know. So if we could start to just reframe this accountability means pleasure before the King. Instead of treating each pleasure as a right, After all I've done, I've got a right to this. After all I've done, this is what I deserve. I earned this. And I'm going to binge on it, or I'm going to do this thing. What if we just treat it as a small, time-limited gift from the Father, and we just say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Father. Can we do that? Can we just practice that this week? See what that does for us? Jesus, thank you for this little gift, this joke, this show, this snack. That was really nice. Thank you. You're a good God, and I honor you. We just need to reorient ourselves, because otherwise we're just all about, look what I have made. Look at the trees I have planted. Apes, bring the apes to me. I'm a king in my own, court. And it's like, no, we need to humble ourselves before the mighty hand of God. That's that third lens, which is just, we've got to start walking in the ways of Yahweh. We need to know that God is all for our happiness, but he cares too much about what the pleasures are doing to our soul to just leave us alone in that. So you're forewarned today that he loves you enough to say, no, look, come to me, come to me, come to me. And so every time you're using your phones or your credit cards or your free time, the question isn't just like, oh, am I allowed this pleasure or not? Do I have a right to this or not? But I think you want to ask the question, like, when I tap on this, who am I crowning as king? Am I crowning myself as king? I deserve this, I'm the one. Or am I eating this in honor of the king? And I think that's really good, because if we're running our own little kingdoms under the nose of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and just kind of pretending like we're doing our own thing, then we're way outside of his kingdom, and we're running our own little thing. So we don't want to run our own kingdoms under the nose of the king. But we can just repent, turn the scepter back to Jesus, say, okay, here, why don't you tell me what we're doing right now? Why don't you tell me what we're doing? So here's a couple moves to make. Ground floor move, name it. Just name it. Here's the lab I've been running. I feel bored, I feel stressed, I feel lonely, hungry, angry, tired, whatever, and so I run to that. So just name it. Know it. And then maybe write out a little sentence today and just say, hey, would you just keep an eye on this? Would you ask me, when I say, oh, I'm so stressed, would you ask me, so what are you running to? Can I create a dialogue with someone who can call back and say, well, okay, so I hear you. You're super anxious, so where are you going with that? Well, I thought I would just take some time for myself, by myself, in my own little kingdom. And you could say, oh, hey, maybe let's do this, let's do something together. Let's go eat a meal together. Let's go for a walk together under his mighty hand. Okay, another move on that second floor, realizing there are gifts, but we tease about that fun-sized bag of candy bars. It's like, that's not fun. This is a fun-sized candy bar. Like this is the thing. So instead, just pick one area and say, I want to do this as a gift. Have you ever asked Jesus, hey, how long should we scroll on this app right now? Have you ever asked him? Have you ever asked him for screen time suggestions? Offer it to him. Because it's not all wrong. Like the puppy videos that Heather shows me all the time, those are great, fabulous. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen that myself, but it's great. They're cute. That's why we got a rental puppy, because of that. Well, life is better with my wife, yeah. Or a wife? Did you say a wife or my wife? A wife, yeah. So, set limits on your time with your wife. I hear what you're saying. No, but then begin and end your time with thanks. Just say, okay, so I do want to catch up with my friends on this app, but I'm not going to do it till my thumb cramps. And I find myself just like, what am I doing? What am I here for? I think I got on to say happy birthday to my friend, and now they got me, right? So Jesus, how long should I invest in that today? And if you think of it as an investment or a treat or a gift, maybe you're not pouring yourself into it and then becoming the product that we were talking about. Hand the scepter back to Jesus and say, okay, I think I'm done for right now. So here's another one. From that idea of life as a gift, take one of those high dopamine, low contentment habits that you have. The ones that just do the wanting, chasing thing, and try to replace that with a low dopamine but high contentment thing. That's where you do some things without without the stimulants, without the dopamine hits, and you go walk with a friend or a dog. That's what I've been doing. Just okay. Before I go into this, I'm gonna take some steps. And here's another one. Just when you think about accountability, before you're like, okay, we're gonna go do the thing. We're gonna go watch the Seahawks crush the St. Louis Rams, doggone it, the LA Rams, and all the Rams before them at the same time. As we crush them and do that, we help us enjoy that. Help me have around my friends and around I want to just enjoy that time. This is a fun thing. We're so thankful for it. I'm not hiding from you today. I'm actually welcoming you into my life today. Because if you're hiding from God, it's like that kid in the corner. You're like, what are you doing over there? Like, nothing. You're like, oh, you're probably doing something, right? As you hide from God, that's not an accountable life. And it also might be that needs to be exposed so that idolatry can be dealt with and so you can turn and worship Jesus as Lord. That's what we want to do as a people. That's where we're headed. Jesus stood up in the last and greatest day of the feast and said, if anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. And whoever believes in me, out of him, out of his side, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. So we become then a way of other people enjoying God because we become people who enjoy our Father. And it's people that are forgiven that know how to forgive. It's people that have enjoyed time with their Father that know how to enjoy actual life before the Father. And we can be those kind of people that bring people into that. Not just like, oh, what are you doing over there? Hey, you should stop doing that. You stop enjoying yourself. But they're like, hey, let's bring that under the banner of our loving God and our Savior. So when Jesus took the crown of thorns on his head and when he walked to the cross, it wasn't just for the big sins that we're all very stressed about in the world and all that kind of stuff. He also he takes a throne in heaven. He's saying, I'm King of Kings. You can lay down your crowns. And comfort isn't king. And pleasure isn't king. I am the king. And we can live our life before them and taste and see that Yahweh is good. Every good taste down here, church, is meant to be a sample. A foretaste. It's just like a little sampler. You're like, oh, that's good. Oh, just wait. I really like that. That was such a great time. Just wait. Oh my goodness, Jesus is going to return. He's going to make all things new. He's going to wipe every tear from your eyes. The resurrection that happened in Christ's body that we sang about today is that's the same thing. That's a down payment on what he's going to do to us, through us, in this world. He's going to make all things new. So if you can taste a little something that's good today, just let it go like, oh, so it's going to be something like that, even better. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I want you to join me in that anticipation. So instead of just stop doing it, what if we just taste and see that Yahweh is good this week? What if we practice that Jesus is saying, come to me and I will give you true life and true pleasure and true satisfaction and true contentment. Don't let pleasure, church, run your life. Let it remind you of the God who already loves you, who's given you all good gifts. And he's smiling down saying, there's a whole lot more of that. Just keep your trust in me. Amen? Let's do that. Amen. So church, we're going to take communion together. And this is an opportunity for you, if you have not given your allegiance to Jesus, to just say, you know what, he is good. Why am I? And he offers himself as real food and real drink. And he says, take me. This is a new covenant. And so as we do this together, this is for those who are now or have in the past said, yes, Jesus, you are King and you are Lord. So we're going to pass out those things right now. Maybe there's a couple things you still need to write down. Maybe there's a plan you need to take, put into action today. But we're going to take a moment just to say yes to Jesus. If you're not a follower of Jesus, I would not suggest you say, I am in covenant with you, Father, because of my allegiance to Jesus. If you're not, that would be a bad, maybe even spiritually dangerous move to pretend you're having allegiance, pretend you're saying yes to Jesus when you're not. But this also might be the time where you just say yes to Jesus. So examine your heart. Just make sure you don't have any ill will in the room. Make sure you're rightly related to people in the room, and and you're connecting with God, and then we'll take this here in just a moment, and then we'll close with a song. I find it very helpful, when we're being led in worship, and I'm so thankful for you, Izzy, by the way, but when we're being led in worship, and just to remember, like we keep talking about, oh, God is good, and He saved me, and He rescued me, and I think it's always good just to remember that time when He met you, and those times where He's continued to grow us and shape us. I can remember back and can easily fill in the blank. If not for Jesus, my life would be, because I know the trajectory I was on. My little brother here could tell you about the trajectory my life was on. But Jesus. So great. And so we have to remember that. Remember the baptismal waters. Remember the way that God is at work in us. Because if you're just focused on everything out there, you're always getting all sorts of feedback that, like, what does it mean that Christ is on the throne of the universe? What does it mean that He is ruling and reigning? Because look at the chaos. And so start with you. And Jesus offered Himself, He's offered His body. He said to His disciples as they were gathered around, He said, this is my body, which is broken for you. Anticipating His crucifixion. He says, do this in remembrance of me. It's one of those times where we remembered that God is not far off. He means to be this close. Like the taste of the kingdom. Right? The kingdom that's coming. The renewal of all things. And He gives us His body. And then He said, this is a new covenant. He took a cup and passed it around and said, this is a new covenant in my blood. So if you're wondering, how do I get into a covenant relationship with the Creator of the universe where I can actually start to experience life the way I'm supposed to experience it, Jesus said, this is a new covenant in my blood. And we honor Jesus as we drink it. And every time we do this, we actually announce a soon and coming King. I don't know when He's coming, and many of you have your own ideas on timelines or whatever. I think the best practice is just assume He's coming right now. I've had so many. Maybe this could help you. I don't know. Maybe it'd help me if you knew this. It doesn't really matter when He's coming back. If that next moon rises and there's a star in the sky and there's a war over there and whatever, and so you think that He's coming back Monday morning, what are you going to do right now to anticipate His return whenever that thing happens? Okay, so now just do that. He's coming back in September because of the thing in the okay, so how are you going to live different? I'm going to turn my heart to Jesus, and I'm going to honor Him with everything I do, and I'm going to eat my food, and I'm going to do that in honor of Him. Good. Do that now anyway. It's just we live in anticipation of soon and coming.